Hey, all, welcome back. I have a brand new interview for my interview series, and it is Sell Your Home in Half the Time, Claudia Ochoa. She is a realtor here in Austin, and she has been doing this for over 11 years, and you're going to find out a little bit more about her because not only does she do real estate, but she also mentors and helps those who are looking to become agents or become better agents. So it is a fantastic interview today. I hope that you find it enjoyable. I'm also going to leave all of her links below in the description. So if you want to get in touch with Claudia, just like the other ones, you can see the links down in the description. I'm super excited for today's interview, and I hope that you get a lot out of it as we talk about a variety of different things as it relates to business and real estate and just life in general. And I hope that you walk away with some nuggets. So check out the video. Don't forget to subscribe. I'll leave her links down below in the description. Leave a comment. Let me know how you're enjoying this so far, and I'll look forward to seeing you later. Well, thanks so much for joining me today, Claudia. I always enjoy being able to speak with you and always enjoy just being able to see you at NIA and just really wherever we get to see each other. So I know a little bit about you, but my audience doesn't. So go ahead and tell us a little bit about Sell Your Home in Half the Time, also known as Claudia Ochoa.
It's so good to see you again. Long time no see, Roger. I love
Right?
networking and seeing you in person. Thank you for having me. That's funny. Yes. So, home sold in half the time, Ochoa. As you know, that is an intro that I utilize at some of the networking events that we go to together. And so, really, where that came from is, well, first of all, as you know, there's thousands and thousands of real estate professionals in this
Yes,
in the
there are.
city of Austin and nearby surrounding towns and cities. And so, real estate for a lot of people is not super sexy. And I needed to come up with something to pop and for people to remember.
Yeah.
And as you have, it kind of sticks in your mind. But the truth
Yeah.
is that I'm able to really do that and help people sell in faster and for more than the average agent. Just thankfully I've got the experience and the
Yeah.
strategies that I've
That's
you know,
awesome.
gotten over the years.
And so, speaking of that, so how long have you been doing that? And have you been doing that mainly in Austin, or have you done that at other places? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes, so this is my 11th year. It's come really fast. It's been a lot of fun. And as you've known in the last couple of years, lots of changes have happened in real estate.
Yeah.
So it's keeping me on my toes. So 11 years, all in the Austin area from South San Antonio to Dallas. So
Wow.
basically Central Texas, some in Houston as well. I've
Okay,
got
cool.
teams spread across nationwide actually.
Yeah, that's really awesome. And that's actually one of the things that I wanted to talk about because not only do you do that, but I know that through our conversations and just seeing you active on Instagram and LinkedIn and all those places, you're not only just an agent, but you're also helping mentor others. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What do you do outside of just being a real estate agent?
Yes, so I love real estate, but I really do love educating people. I'm doing that through the vehicle of real estate right now because that's what I'm in 24/7. But I do a lot of mindset and business practices. It's just the entrepreneur of me. I'm an entrepreneur at heart. And so it's just something I love to do to give back. And I didn't realize I had this, I don't want to call it a gift yet, but maybe a passion for doing it.
Yeah.
One of my last brokerages hired me on part-time, which is very rare to see in a brokerage for them to hire on an agent part-time to help train incoming and seasoned agents so that they can be better at their business.
Yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I mean, you can see just through your, post that you put on there and just the way that you conduct yourself, that makes sense that you have that mentorship, that coaching ability. So, having said that, you've been doing that, so you have these 11 years of experience. So, what does it look like to be coached and mentored by you as an agent?
That's a great question. So eventually I'll have a proper coaching where have a fee for it. But right now I'm doing it as part of just the way I like to give back in the
Yeah.
vehicle of real estate. Um, I get agents from all brokerages, different states. Sometimes they're friends that turn into realtors and they want me to teach them. And so I do a little bit, whether you're a client or an agent looking to be mentored or coached by me, I always go through some sort of interviewing process because everyone's different, as
Yeah.
you know, and I like to tailor my experience, whether it's the customer experience or the coaching and mentor experience to that person. Everybody learns differently. There's different goals, there's different obstacles that they have gone through, are going through. And so it's really about listening to them and seeing what I can do to help them reach their goals.
That's really cool. And you had mentioned, so you do like an interview process. So it's not just a, hey, I want to be coached or mentored by you, Claudia. Can you do that? Talk
Yes,
me a little
because
through
I
that.
I really pour into anybody. It doesn't matter who it is. It could be my family, my clients, a realtor, my neighbor, like my neighbors, anybody that wants to, I guess, be part of a community that wants to learn. I'm gonna pour into them. So I spend a
Yeah.
lot of time, and that's why it's important that I get to know them further, because you'll hear it, we want to lose those last 10 pounds, or we want to make, 1 million. We have these goals, but not everyone is willing to put in the daily discipline
Yeah.
in order to receive that. So it's really important for me to gauge from a person how serious they really are, because again, I go all in, and that is a lot of time that I give, and I want to make sure it's for those that really want to pursue their desires.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, because you can see through like what you do that you really take your time to do that, and that you're really putting your, you're really, you're putting your heart and your soul into that. And I know it's tough, even whether it's a client, whether it's someone that you're mentoring, you want to have them, be in and not be like, all right, well, I'm going to do this, and then just kind of ho hum about it.
Yes,
Um,
but once they say yes, once I get a feeling, we have so much fun.
yeah,
We have book clubs. There's multiple hours of weekly coaching. There is We do practicing of dialogue and communication. I mean, there is hours and hours. It's not just for me.
yeah.
It's access to all of my other coaches and my community in the real estate world.
That's awesome. Yeah. So you have a whole litany of things that you can show them, and that must be huge because, like you said, there are thousands. It seems like of realtors. I always joke around like when I go to a networking event, it's like 90% realtors or somebody in real estate. I always end up, and I don't really necessarily have. I don't want to say like anything to do with it, but like that's not really my audience or whatever, but like I always end up either in some sort of commercial real estate, residential real estate, investors, like networking. And it's like they're like, oh, what do you do? They're telling me, they're brokers and lenders and investors. And then I'm like, oh, well, I help people get found on Google. And they're like, oh, okay. So that's, yeah, it does seem like there's a ton. And so to have someone actually step in and do that, that's really awesome. And all the years of experience that you really have is fantastic.
It's helpful. It's definitely helpful to differentiate yourself and just really
Yeah.
hone in on who you are as a person and just go with it. Like Roger, if you loved country music, like you could be the country music Google X. I don't know. You could just
Yeah.
utilize what your passions and fun are, and that's how people remember you.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's huge. And you can see that again through what you do, like through your post, you can see that that you're putting your time and your effort into it, whether it's, you're asking a
Mhm.
question or you're asking for feedback. So having that, because I know that networking is a big part, because I mean, we just saw each other the other day and we're probably going
Yes,
to see each other later because we're part of a
three
lot of the
o'clock.
same, yeah, same networking groups. Exactly. 3 o'clock. So so since networking is a big part of your life and of, what you do, how do you really utilize that? And what are some best practices and things that you do with that?
Well, I have to say that I've come quite a long way, as I had a huge limiting belief about networking and that I sucked at it and I didn't have any value to give, and who am
Mm,
I? I've done nothing. I really had a really bad outlook when it came to networking, and I did suck at first. This has
yeah.
been almost a decade now of networking. I would say closer to
Yeah.
7 years, and there are some days that I still suck at it, but it's just something that I love to do. I love to connect. I love to connect people with the resources that they need and grow relationships. And so it's more of like a practice, if you will, networking and being able to talk to people and build
Yeah.
relationships. And eventually I broke through those barriers. Again, there are some days where I just like blank when I start talking. I'm like, what did I just say? I don't know what I just
Yeah.
said, but it's a daily, it's a weekly, it's a monthly practice. Um, Back to your question, I mean, again, it's for building relationships. It's part of like my fun in business, and hearing what other people do sparks and creates connections in my own brain to get me thinking, whether it's a different industry someone's talking about or a project they're working on. It doesn't have to be about real estate. It's just fun to hear what other people are doing,
Yeah.
and there's usually something that comes up that I can help them with, and that's like what I really love to do.
That's really cool. Yeah, I think I might have mentioned this in one of my other interviews, but yeah, one of the things that I just love about networking is, yes, cool. I want to find other people and I talk to them, but really it's more about like connecting with them. And for me personally, like and I think you would agree, is just kind of like learning about like what they've done. And then also like, oh, hey, that's really good. And just like you said, like, oh, they may not be in, real estate, but I've talked to people and they're like, oh, well, hey, have you thought about this from this angle? And I'm like, oh yeah, like you think of it's, oh, well, this is this industry. And then you realize like, oh, I could do something similar to that. So that's
Yes.
really, yeah.
Yeah, some people choose pickleball groups or like
Yeah.
book clubs. Networking is just part of the community that I like to be around. With we're around business owners and entrepreneurs, and those are the like-minded people that I like to connect with,
Yeah.
among others, but
Yeah.
definitely entrepreneurs and business owners.
And with your networking, and this may be a separate question or connected to that, but what do you do or how do you generate clients and business through that?
So it's through the relationships that are built, and sometimes Roger, like right away, you're like, okay, that person isn't necessarily for me. I'm not for them, but I know someone who's going to work for them perfectly. Or like, I don't need a CPA, but I just heard about my neighbor who's looking for one, and I can make that
Mm,
connection. And it's more of like an organic way of business. I can't say like I get business on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, by doing the things that I do in networking. It's just it comes and goes, it flows, and it just feels it's not forced, which is one of the limiting beliefs I had about networking, is that I had to like sell, I had to come in and like
yeah.
get the business. It's more than just that. And when you receive the business, it's better when it just feels organic and comes naturally.
Yeah, definitely. So what sort of advice would you give for someone who was looking to network, whether or not
So
they're a real estate agent or not? Just what
that
kind of advice would you give?
that's a great question. I would say to come with an intention. Like, what is it? Why are you showing up to this meeting? Are you looking for a certain person in a certain industry, like a CPA? Of course, a lot of people like to go strictly for business. I would say to come from a place of giving, like we know this, right? You give and you shall receive. But when you come with the intention of just give me the business, not only can people feel that energy,
Very
you
much so.
usually walk away just with that, what do they call it? Like that commission breath, right? Like you just feel like too needy. So I would
Yeah.
say come with the intention of being yourself and growing relationships and having a little fun. And maybe the intention is I just want to get better at speaking.
Yeah.
Maybe I want to get better at my business pitch. It just come with that intention, and when you do that and you show up in that way, it just obviously you're just going to get better every single time you do it.
Yeah, no, that's fantastic advice, and I wish I would have known that advice when I first started.
And then there's the follow-up, of course. There's layers to
Yeah,
it, right? So you meet
yeah,
people you like, and then you just don't like say goodbye forever. I mean, you could, but
yeah,
then what was the intention of you showing up
right.
that one time to not follow up?
Yeah, I think that's huge. I think it's huge to follow up. Obviously, like you said, sometimes there's just like, okay, well, there's not really a synergy between that. But still, even then, it's still even nice to be able to be like, hey, it was great meeting you, and even though
Yeah.
you may not utilize them later on, but yeah, you can definitely tell when somebody comes up and like the first thing that they say before even anything is they just shove their business card in your face. And it's like, all
Yes.
right, well, I'd like to know what your name is first.
there's
And
there's definitely so many layers to networking, like you said. Like
yeah,
there's the follow-up, and then, well, what do you do on the one-on-ones, and then
yeah.
how do you it can be a lot, but it could be a lot of fun if you could just get through those initial barriers of like, oh man, what am I going to say? I'm going to suck. Is this for
Yeah,
me?
and in these sort of, these sort of conversations that we're having now about, networking and working on your pitch and follow up and all that, are these sort of things that you talk through with your clients or your agents that you're mentoring and coaching?
Definitely, it's one of the things that comes up because as part of improving the business, we've got to figure out how do you want to receive the business? Are you doing mailers? Are you doing speaking engagements, emails? Like, what is it that you're doing? And I always bring up networking because it's been such an is such a teacher for me in so many ways, personally and business wise. It's kind of like going to improv, where it's like super uncomfortable, but the end result is that you're able to communicate and have a little bit of fun, right? So that's how I feel like networking is. It's kind of like improv to me. It was really uncomfortable at first, but it really helped me to grow personally and professionally. So
Yeah,
networking, we absolutely talk about networking and we go through the motions of that.
that's
And some
cool.
people are super scared. And that's the folks I really love to work with is when they have some sort of limiting belief or um, a mindset where they're scared about doing something so we can just like break through it. Because once they break through something like that, they can pretty much get through anything.
That's really cool. I'm sure he's not the first one to say it, but I've heard it. Alex Ramosi, he says it would be unreasonable of you to think that you could do X, Y, and Z if you've never done it, right? Like, so for example, he used selling. It would be unreasonable of you to think that you'd be good at selling
Yeah.
if you've never sold anything in your entire life. So same thing with pitching or,
Yes.
going to a networking
Yes.
group. And so,
Alex is
you
awesome.
have these agents that you're talking to, you have these years of experience of, people that you've talked with and that you've sold and all that. What is, as you are passing on advice to them, what is a piece of advice, or what is some advice that you've received that you're just like, man, this is, like it's really affected you?
Oh, okay, that's a really good question. And so I'm gonna give two. The first
Nope,
one
only just
that
one.
really
No.
just one, fine. If it's just the one,
Just
because
kidding. No, I'm
the
just
first
kidding.
this one helped me when I was younger and I was in a different profession. I've been in the tech world and I've done managing and firing and hiring of people. And so this was way back then, way before real estate, and it was don't believe everything you think,
Mm,
which I tell my kids this is just when somebody says something about themselves or a limiting belief, I'm like, where did you get that from? Like, how did you come to that? Don't believe just because you think it doesn't mean it's real. So that helped me for decades. So that is like my biggest best piece of advice. And recently, in just like the last 7 years, it is to develop a morning routine,
mm.
because whether you think you have one or not, you're being run by someone's morning routine. So is it one that you create, or is it one that is pulling you, right?
Yeah.
So there's nothing like waking up with the right intentions and like your cup of coffee and whatever it is that you want to do to start off your day to make it the best one.
That's good. Yeah, no, both of those are absolutely fantastic. And you can even see how that kind of, commonality between the two of them, because you wake up and you think like, oh, I'm going to do this, but then maybe something happens and then you start thinking, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm not this, and you have to limit that and you have to really kind of push through that. But yeah, no, that is absolutely fantastic. And you had mentioned that you were also, and I remember that we had talked about that. You were not always in realty, or yeah,
Yes.
in realty, but you had done other things before. And so I'm sure, because being in the tech industry, and I'm sure that has also taught you a lot, which again correlates over. We may not think, oh, well, this, these things can correlate or have synergy, or but I'm sure that a lot of that has also taught you a lot, that and giving you a unique perspective on that.
Absolutely. I mean, from the tech world where I taught myself to code, I was project managing big projects, big companies at AT&T wound up buying. And
Mm,
then from a managing perspective, like it has helped me to be able to, I don't, maybe be a chameleon and be able to intake all types of personalities and just stay in the best myself state to be the best me for everybody else as well. It's
That's
taught
awesome.
me quite a bit about people. I've seen a lot of personalities, so that's very helpful to have that experience,
Yeah, no,
especially in the real estate world where everyone is, and just in life in general, everyone's so different with their personalities, and it's nice to be able to navigate.
yeah, no, I can imagine that would, you're trying to take all of these things, and, as you're navigating that and as you're, okay, so I'm going from tech, I'm going, realty, and now you're also doing coaching on top of that. What is something that you would tell someone who wants to, okay, well, I'm here, but now they want to, they want to 10x it, right? They want to get to the next level. What are some things that you would tell someone who's looking to get to that next level of their business?
I would say to take a really good look at their calendar, and it's not really a time mastery thing. It's more of like a self mastery of whatever's on your calendar, you're going to follow it. And it takes some time to be able to get there. It took me months. I remember when I was really trying to follow a calendar, but what's on your calendar, you're more likely to do it.
Hmm.
Especially if you're a business, if you're a professional, you are following your calendar. So if you're truly going to be a professional and 10x it, then you're following your calendar. Or if you have an assistant, right? The assistant is telling you what's on your calendar. Somebody's following a calendar. And the faster you can adhere to that, the better. And it's it's just a daily discipline of habits. That's who you are, that's who you become, is your daily habits.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's simply put, but it's not easy for people to do. That would be the number one thing. To 10x is like pick your thing that you're gonna do and do it every single day and get better at it.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. And even, I was thinking, it's like, oh yeah, no, I need to really start putting more things on my calendar, because sometimes it's easy to be like, oh yeah, and think like, oh, I'm going to do that. And then you don't do it, and so that's definitely tough.
And that's okay. You have to give yourself some grace. Like
Yeah.
things happen all the time, but it's consistency, right? Like
Yes.
how often are you letting these squirrels get in the way?
Mm.
And that, hey, I just woke up. Hey, babe. Thank you. Now she doesn't want to leave.
Yeah. Well, now she's like, well, I want to be on camera now.
Super.
Yeah.
You can just leave it open. Anyway, so yes, it's that consistency,
Yeah.
really.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You just got to put in those reps. Well, Claudia, I appreciate you giving me your time and all that. But before we go, I do want to know, so what do you do? You're doing all this stuff, but what do you do when you're not working? What do you do outside of work and all that? Or are you just doing this all the time?
It feels like it.
Yeah, right. I'm sure. Yeah,
networking
definitely.
networking is fun. Sometimes I call it not working because it's my fun part of my
Yeah,
business. I love all things. I mean, I love to read, as you can see
I
back
could see
here.
that. Yeah.
I love to read. I love to geek out on like neuroscience and
Yeah.
astrology. I love to eat. Usually we talk, when I meet people, I'm like, what's your favorite restaurant? Where do you
Yeah.
go? Like, I love talking food. I love making food, eating food. Um, and like doing something fun, like with my body, like whether it's running or taking a walk, lifting weights, like that's fun for me. It makes
Yeah.
me, it helps my energy levels, and it helps me like mental
100%.
health, with mental health as well.
Yeah.
Mental wellness, I like to say.
Yeah. Yeah. No, 100%. Yeah.
What
I think,
about you? What do you do? What do you like to do, Roger?
well, I was gonna say, yeah, because I think the last time we met at we met at a gym, and
Yeah.
yeah, it's good to be able to, uh, like you said, to have that, like, well, I don't want to do this today, but it kind of pushes you to like, no, I'm going to do this, because then afterwards, I mean, I don't really know how many times I've ever been like, oh man, like I really regret, working out. I mean, I feel it, right? I feel it, but like mentally and like physically, I'm just like, yeah, I feel better working out. And, it's because I also, I've started to do a lot more like cardio and like running and like walking and stuff, because it's nice that you can just kind of think about stuff and just kind of like it just kind of puts you like in a flow state almost, where you're just kind of
Yeah.
going and all that. So yeah, that's really awesome. So, well, Claudia, do you have any sort of events coming up? Where can, so couple questions. Do you have any events coming up for those of us for those of our audience that are in Austin or around the Austin area? And for those that are and are not, where can they find you online
Okay,
or
thanks for
anywhere?
asking. So this is for anyone that is in real estate or wants to network and meet real estate professionals like real estate agents or maybe even lenders or title people. Once a month, I help to host this lunch and learn is for realtors, and we have really great speakers. It's in North Austin. That's the third Thursday of every month, and I don't know where you like me to post this, but I can give you the details. But it's every third Thursday, and tickets used to be on Eventbrite. They are on realestatecollective.live, so
Okay.
that's where you can get your monthly tickets. But it's April. This coming month is our annual huge. It's a huge summit. Last year we had over 100 people.
Cool.
We expect nothing less. And it's an all-day thing. Several keynote speakers, including, let's see, we have the national memory champion. One of the national memory champions of the world is going to be there, Ron White. Chris Widener, who talks a lot about influence. So these are not just real estate speakers, but then we do have some other real estate specific keynoters that are talking about sales and mindset. So again, it's not necessarily just for real estate. So if you want to get connected there, that is going to be the third Thursday in April.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Let's see. Where can you find me? I am on Instagram. I am Claudia Ochoa is my handle at I am Claudia Ochoa. You can find me on Facebook, and I'm getting better at LinkedIn. So yes, that's where you can find me.
Awesome. And I'm going to, and all those things that you had said, we'll, once I get that and I post, I'm going to put all that in the description as well. So people can easily find you.
Oh, and I've got a special code for those events.
Okay.
Yes. So I've got, I think it might be 10 or 15 bucks off, but it includes lunch, and it's usually really, really good. I'd love to have you there.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah. So I'll put that in there, and then I'll make sure that they can put all your I'll make sure to put all of your contact information in the description. They can reach out, and they can check out all the events and find out where you're at and see your cool posts and where you're hanging out at.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me, Roger.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it. Thank you so much, Claudia. And I'll see you later.
I'll see you in a few hours.
Yeah.